It is April 14th, 2021. I am your host, Carter Ring, and this is the Ringers Podcast, coming at you here with episode 71 here on a Wednesday late afternoon. Got some news in the NFL today. Got the alert around 11:30 noon, I think it was. The Cleveland Browns inked a 1-year, $10 million deal with edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney. If you want to call it big news, okay. But I'm over this Jadeveon Clowney thing. I've never really thought he's all that. I think he's just a big name. When you go to the grocery store, you look at the big name brand stuff, you pay more for it than the regular brand, the Kroger brand, Roundy's brand, whatever you're buying, right? You pay more for the big brand name, right? So I look at Jadeveon Clowney, and what is he? Number 1 overall pick, was a stud at South Carolina. I mean, I watched him in college, and I was probably 7th, 8th grade, but I watched him. And you all remember that hit he had against Michigan where he knocked the guy's helmet off and it went flying 10 yards. Number 1 overall pick, we thought he was the next Lawrence Taylor type, right? He hasn't lived up to the hype. Not even close, right? He had a couple seasons in Houston when he was okay. We're like, that guy's good, right? Number 1 pick for a reason, right? But why is everyone so excited about Clowney? I'm just not, and I don't like being a downer, but where has he shown that he's dominant, right? Okay, he's had some good games, here and there over the years, he's had a couple sacks here and there, but he had 0 sacks last year for the Tennessee Titans, man, and he's often injured. The Browns forking out $10 million to a guy I don't even think gives full effort all the time. There's been effort issues, attitude issues with Jadeveon Clowney, right? Getting in, fights with coaches, right? It's just, I don't think listen, Jadeveon Clowney, this has nothing to do with his potential. His potential's off the charts. Now, I don't think he's in his prime anymore, but then, his talent was off the charts, right? He had a Hall of Fame talent, right? But he just never was able to stay healthy. He wasn't consistent. He didn't work hard enough on the field, right? There's times I'd see him get blocked by a tight end. I'm like, are you kidding me, Clowney? Shed that tight end and go hit that quarterback, right? I've never understood the love affair for Jadeveon Clowney. I just haven't, right? Everyone talks about, he's such a coveted player. Really? Why did it last season when he was a free agent in mid-August? He didn't sign a month until season started, right? He doesn't sign until mid-April. Free agency was a month ago it started, right? So the Browns, listen, 1 year, $10 million, and you put him on the defensive line with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's one of the best pass rushers in football. That guy's consistent, right, when he's healthy. Jadeveon Clowney, even when he's healthy, he's not consistent with his play. 0 sacks with the Titans last year. I think he had 2.5 or 3 with Seattle the year before, right? He's only had one double. I think we had 10 sacks in 2017. I think it was. Listen, Jadeveon Clowney's back then he was ultra talented, but he's not even that good anymore, right? The Browns, $10 million for 1 year. What if he gets 1 sack? Was $10 million worth it, right? I don't like this move for Cleveland. Now, listen, I think he could make me eat my words. He could go out and play well in a system with that front seven's pretty good. Sheldon Richardson, Jadeveon Clowney. They got some good secondary players. Denzel Ward, right? I think the Browns are heading in the right direction, but I just don't know if handing Jadeveon Clowney $10 million because he walks in a room with his agent and says, I'm Jadeveon Clowney. I demand $10 million or not, I'm not coming. The Browns kind of just caved, I don't like it. But, the Browns look at it like, all right, this guy was a number 1 pick. He's still a freak, in our opinion. I don't think he's a freak athlete anymore. He gets injured a lot. So I just look at it like, did you really have to give $10 million to Jadeveon Clowney? Really? Or could you have saved that $10 million and go add other depth pieces, right? But hey, they're looking at it as a glass half full, right? They're looking at it like this. We have Myles Garrett, and we compare Jadeveon Clowney with him, and we'll have the best defensive end duo in football. Well, if Jadeveon Clowney stays healthy, his mind is focused, and he's going hard, then okay, you have a case, right? But those are a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs around Jadeveon Clowney. There is. And you're giving him $10 million. Now, I'm sure it's not all guaranteed. There's some incentives in there. He's got to get sacks. I will give him this. Jadeveon Clowney is a really good run-stopping defensive end. He's physical. When he hits you, right? And that's what he should be doing all the time. You see consistency from guys like Aaron Donald, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zadarius Smith, Daniil Hunter. These guys are the best, right? So I look around, and I see, Jadeveon Clowney should be in that discussion, but he just doesn't go hard all the time. And when he does, he's not making plays. How do you go from being the number one pick and then only in like year 7, year 6, you have 0 sacks in a season where you waited until August to sign with the team and you don't even get a sack? I think he had like 2 QB pressures all year. He had an injury last year, but he played 12 games, right? So listen, I'm not trying to hate on Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's an ultra talent, and he was back in his prime, but I don't know why the Browns forked out $10 million to him. I just don't agree with that move at all. I think they'll regret this one. I mean, look at it. 4 teams in 4 years. Texans, Seahawks, Titans, Browns. It's like teams are renting him now. Okay, go to this team. Next. Okay, we'll rent Clowney for a year. All right, you're done. Next. All right, come on. Yeah, come on in. Oh, done. Next. You get the theme, right? You look at it and you say, how could he not fit in a Pete Carroll system or a Mike Vrabel system, right? Those guys, they just want to ship him off like he's a scrub. So I think at this point in his career, and it's been like this for a couple of years now, right? He's just a big name. He's just a big name, and you're going to have to pay a little extra for the big brand, right? Just like you would at the grocery store, the Nike store, Foot Locker, whatever it is. You're paying more for the bigger brands. And that's what Jadeveon Clowney is, in my opinion. I do think the Browns made a mistake giving him $10 million. I think that's a little rich. I would have done $5.5, $6 million tops. He's a guy that hasn't earned it the last couple of years. His production doesn't match $10 million even. You might say, well, that's Jadeveon Clowney, but don't fall in love with the big name. He has not produced. So I would like to see him prove me wrong. I don't mind being wrong. If Clowney goes out and has 10 sacks and makes the Pro Bowl for the Browns, okay, then he'll shut me right up. But I'm not the only one hating on Jadeveon Clowney. I'm not the only one that's a critic of his. I mean, he has not lived up to the hype. 4 teams in 4 years. It's not a good sign, right? 1-year deals, waiting until summer to sign with teams. Doesn't mean teams are all knocking on his door, right? So I just think the Browns made a little mistake here. Judgment and error here, right? But we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe Clowney, like I said, maybe he goes out and has a really good season, right? But I don't see it. There's no evidence for me to believe that he will have a good season. Why should I believe it, right? I guess we'll have to find out. Season's coming up faster than you know it. This was episode 71 of the Ringers podcast. Putting together my final NFL mock draft 4.0. I'm thinking about dropping it this weekend. The final mock draft. The draft is tomorrow, 2 weeks away from tomorrow. I'm so excited. Again, this was episode 71. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you soon.